Welcome to this detailed review of my 2003 Lexus SC430 in Indigo Ink Pearl. Since this car is for sale, I'm publishing this review in both English and French. You can find the French version in the description. Before I begin, I want to make one note. I didn't talk while recording, mostly due to my inability to walk and chew gum at the same time. Now I see that I have problem talking fast enough to follow the clips. Fortunately, I've taken lots of photos, so I'll insert them when the clips run out. I'll develop this review in 3 steps. They'll be time-stamped, at least on YouTube. First, I'll cover the brief history of the SC430. Second, I'll walk you through the design and engineering details of the SC430. Third, I'll talk a little about my particular car for sale. The SC430, chassis code Z40, debuted in 2000 at the New York Auto Show. Unlike the original SC Coupe, Lexus decided to go with the hardtop convertible body style, sometimes known as Coupe Cabriolet. Interestingly, you may be surprised to find that it was not the first hardtop convertible in its model series. In Japan, the SC is known as Toyota Soarer, which was a more upscale variant of the Toyota Supra. In 1989, Toyota sold a hardtop aero cabin version of the Z40 Soarer, which used the 7M GTE engine, which, if I remember correctly, has the head gasket problem. Speaking of reliability, I'm sure that according to Reliability Index, which is a UK site that used to provide such information based on warranty claims, the SC430 is the second most reliable convertible, just behind the Mazda MX-5, which is another class of car. Lexus used arguably the most reliable Japanese drivetrain from the last 2 decades in this car. It is a combination of the 3UZ FE 4.3-liter double overhead cam naturally aspirated V8 engine and the Aisin A650E 5-speed automatic transmission. The engine produced around 290 horsepower and 441 Nm of torque. It uses a full aluminum construction and 4 valves per cylinder design. It is essentially a more efficient variant of the 1UZ FE engine post-VVTi. Enthusiasts who tune their cars may prefer the 1UZ, but for running the stock engine like in this SC430, the 3UZ has more torque down low and is more drivable. The A650E is undeniably the most reliable 5-speed automatic transmission from any manufacturer. It also comes with a dipstick that makes fluid services extremely easy. Obviously, the SC430 is a front-engine, rear-wheel drive car. It has double wishbone suspension at the front and what I would describe as multi-link or 5-link suspension at the rear, though its 2 upper control arms are fused, so many consider it double wishbone. This setup gives the car good comfort and handling characteristics. Speaking of comfort and handling, you must not run this car with run-flat tires that it came with from factory. With modern, non-run-flat tires, the ride is completely different than run-flats. It is much better than what some of the early reviewers suggested. By the way, the stock wheels are 18x8 with 5x1 14.3 bolt pattern and a 45mm offset. The stock tires are 245/40 R18s in a square setup. Back to the chassis. The SC430 has about 60% of its engine sitting behind the front axle. While this is still far from a mid-front engine setup, it is more evenly distributed than the R230 Mercedes SL500, let alone the SL600. Styling-wise, I think Lexus did a tremendous job. It really is a case of buy for the reliability and keep for the look and experience. It has a decidedly Japanese front end that is simple and that, curiously, hasn't been much copied. Perhaps some of the early Infinitis had a similar setup. Lexus has long abandoned this elegant grille in favor of the spindle grille, which I think works amazingly well with the LC500, which is arguably the successor to this vehicle. The spindle grille doesn't work so well for crossovers and SUVs though. The front and rear lights on this car are simple and effective. One piece of history about this particular car. I have never had to change even a single bulb anywhere on it during 7 years of ownership. In my opinion, this attests to the exceptional quality of the electronics. You can see that the SC430 has a rather good dash-to-axle ratio. The driver sits right at the center of the wheelbase, which optimizes comfort and handling. The windshield is quite raked, which helps with aerodynamics, though in this case not to provide downforce or to be the most fuel efficient. Supposedly, it was the quietest convertible with the top down, thanks to the specific shape of the hood and the windshield. The trunk is a little high, but this is necessary to accommodate the folding hardtop. Here, I want to point out that the hardtop is fully electrical. A lot of the European manufacturers, such as Mercedes and BMW, etc., use hydraulic tops. This fully electrical setup is maintenance-free, which I believe is a tremendous advantage. In the rear, this car is very symmetrical with dual exhaust pipes, dual reverse lights, and dual fog lights. The factory made a small rear spoiler an option, though I think almost every car has it and the car doesn't look complete without one. On the passenger side, there is a retractable antenna for radio. One interesting fact is that this antenna won't go all the way up. Instead, it will adjust its length based on the frequency that you've tuned in. Now switching to the inside. The elephant in the room is that the rear seats aren't all that useful with their upright bags and virtually no legroom. It is possible to squeeze in one small adult or child behind the passenger seat, but unless the driver is also very small, it is really not for four. The story behind this setup is that in the United States, a two-seater is classified as sports car and has higher insurance premiums. In reality, these are akin to the cargo shelf found in the Mercedes SL, but with the possibility to squeeze in someone in a pinch. Overall, all seat surfaces and armrests are covered in leather. Elsewhere, Lexus used vinyl or pleather. The same material is also used on the headliner. There is soft touch material on the dashboard and the uppers surrounding the cabin. They age well and require no maintenance. Not as nice as leather, but it'll do. Jumping inside, the cabin is very simple. A giant plus is that both the touchscreen and the audio player can be hidden away in wood-trimmed doors. The touchscreen has DVD-based navigation, but the smartphone is much better these days. Usually, it is the tech in a car that ages it the quickest. By hiding it away, this interior will always look neat. This car is equipped with a Mark Levinson sound system with 6-disc CD changer. I think every car sold in Europe has Mark Levinson. It sounds just fine, although I prefer to drive with the top down and no audio because it would be obnoxious otherwise. On the dash, we have a speedometer with the odometer in the center, flanked by a tachometer on the left and a couple of common gauges on the right. All the warning lights on this car work, although I've disabled the TPMS system. Now let's see the engine start from within the cabin. I must say that the in-camera mic is not really fit for this purpose, but it'll do. Here is how the top closing looks like from the driver's seat. Here is how it looks from the outside. Finally, a shot of the lights and the top working after the sun began to set. Since this review is also a for sale video, I'll finish it by talking about this particular car. As I mentioned in the beginning of this video, it is finished in indigo ink pearl exterior with ecru interior. The car, like all other SCs, was fully made in Japan. It was first registered in July 2003 in Italy. It was owned by an elderly gentleman until I bought it in January 2016. I was promised that it was much loved and well taken care of. I have the complete service records of this car with all the receipts. I have also kept all the gas slips during my ownership, which amounts to over 200 fill-ups. I used almost exclusively Total's Excellium unleaded 98. I've scanned all these documents and made a copy for the future owner. The previous owner had kept up with recommended service intervals, with records showing frequent services for the gearbox and differential, two commonly overlooked but very important areas. During my ownership, I went beyond factory recommendations with maintenance. I did 6,000 km, 6 months oil changes, always with original Toyota filter and fully synthetic oil. In the first few years, I used Mobil 1 ESP 5W30. More recently, I switched to Motul 8100 X-CESS 5W30. I strongly recommend the Motul because it has very high TBN and sulfated ash, which mean that it provides superb protection to the engine. It's important to make sure that it is the X-CESS, not the eco-nonsense for snowflake mobiles that burn oil from the factory. This car doesn't burn any oil at all. Today's new cars, sometimes in order to meet fuel efficiency goals, have to use a different piston ring setup that burns oil from new. That's why you have these new eco oils that are designed specifically for them. In 6.5 years, I did 13 oil changes. I would like to do it once more, but I want the buyer to see the oil condition after the engine has been run for a few months. The last oil change was in February this year. I also changed the transmission fluid very frequently, always using either Toyota Type 4 or Mobil ATF 3309, which is the OEM version of the same thing. When I first got the car, I essentially flashed the transmission with 6 fluid changes. I did this because you can only change out 2 liters each time. I used the pump to extract the fluid most of the time to save the drain bolt. Afterwards, I did 2 fluid changes in 2017, 3 in 2019, and 2 in 2021. Throughout my ownership, the transmission only saw fresh fluid. Its color has always been cherry red. The transmission shifts perfectly. In 7 years, there has never been a single hard shift or missed shift. In fact, I've driven some new cars, but none is as smooth, even the ZF 8HP loved by journalists and influencers. I also change the coolant very frequently. I always use the red Toyota Long Life, which is premixed. It is very important to use this precise coolant. Many dealers want to sell you the pink one. Some lie and say that they don't have the red one anymore. Just walk away. The red one has the correct protection for the water pump on this engine. Other services that I've done include 4 brake fluid flushes, 3 brake jobs, 1 on the front, 2 on the rear as I didn't change the disc the first time, 3 complete steering fluid flushes, a new set of Denso iridium spark plugs, 2 differential fluid changes, 2 air filters, and 2 cabin air filters. All of these have been done by myself with the highest degree of care that only an owner will take. I ran through 1 set of tires. Now the rears are on Goodyear Eagle F1 Asymmetric 5 with just over 13,000 kilometers, while the fronts are on Goodyear Eagle F1 Asymmetric 6 from this year. They have just a couple of thousand kilometers. The only thing I've had to repair on this car were the lower ball joints. I used OEM 555 Sankei made in Japan. Otherwise, the car never needed repair. Like I said earlier, not even a bulb has needed to be replaced. Going forward, I'm quite confident that with good maintenance, the car can easily do another 200,000 kilometers without drivetrain breakdowns. I'm only selling this car because I need to leave Europe this year and cannot bring it with me. This car has just passed an annual checkup in June 2022. It can be registered directly throughout Europe without any trouble. Drop me an email if you are interested. Thanks for watching. Have a great day.